This is a video about building context. And by building context, I do mean building a context for the soon coming invasion of the United States, but also for understanding why China has militarized the South China Sea. Also, I'm going to talk about Canadian oil as well, as that plays a very, very significant role in the Sino-Russian invasion of North America as a whole. Because as you know, Russia wants Alaska back with all its oil, and also the northern three most provinces of Canada, which are Nunavut, the Northwest Territories, and Yukon, where there is humongous oil. And of course, China would have influence over the puppet rump state that would be the bottom provinces that go from British Columbia all the way to Labrador and Quebec and those other ones there, like Prince Edward Island and New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, so on and so forth. Anyway, getting down to it, I'm a facts and figures guy. Just for fun, I was on Worldometer today, just looking at some numbers. And, okay, here's the deal with China. China has the 14th biggest proven oil reserves in the world, and they have humongous oil fields. But those are just the proven ones they know of. That's not to say that there aren't unproven oil reserves left in China. That's just the ones they know of and are drilling and exploring. Okay, so their 14th biggest is 1.5% of the total oil reserves in the world, which equal 1,650,585,144,000 barrels. And China has China has 5.4 times its annual consumption worth of reserves, which is only 5 years of oil left, going by proven but not unproven reserves. So their reserves are 25,132,122,000 billion barrels of oil. Their production rate daily is 4,905,071 that's in millions of barrels, so that's 4,905,071 barrels of oil a day. Consumption is 12,791,553 barrels a day. They are the second biggest oil consumer on the face of the earth because of their ginormous industries and industrial base and economy. It's humongous. It has to be powered by so-called fossil fuels, which I don't think they're made from fossils, but that's a whole nother matter. Okay, their deficit, meaning what's left over after they use up the oil they produce that they still need to fulfill. After their 4,905,071 barrels a day are used, that leaves them negative 7,886,482 barrels that they need, which fulfills the consumption rate. So their imports here, which this doesn't make much sense because after they import 7,620,760 barrels, they sell off 58,812 barrels. They must be like doing it for a profit or something, putting it on the world market. It's not very much, but I don't know why they would sell things that they need, that they import. So their net imports end up equaling 7,561,948 barrels, which that leaves still 200,000 barrels that they need, which I'm assuming they get from some sort of a built-up reserve. And these numbers are subject to change, so that means that these numbers can change frequently. Not by very much at all, but they do change frequently. Now, in the Spratleys, back in 2016, China estimated that there were 213 billion barrels of oil there. But USGS, the U.S. Geological Survey, had come along and said it's more likely to be 28 billion barrels, which would be about 7 years worth of oil for China if the USGS estimate is right. Which, I mean, it doesn't sound unreasonable. I mean, it sounds pretty logical. 7 years. But the 213 billion barrels, that's a damn sure thing to militarize some man-made reefs over. I'll tell you what, that is, wow. I would too if I had if I was a superpower like China and I was trying to secure a whole shit ton of oil for my economy. Hell yeah, I would militarize some man-made islands and put bases on them to protect that. Oh, you bet I would. So I don't know. Is the Chinese estimate right? If so, it's wow. I mean, it's just wow. That would power China for a very, 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 very long time. But if the 28 billion of the USGS estimate is right back then, that's 7 more years of oil they could secure for themselves. What they have now is only 5 years left, according to this Worldometer. So, Canada has 188 years worth of oil. 170 billion 863 million barrels of oil, proven Canadian reserves. America, though, has only 35 billion 230 million, which is the 11th biggest reserves in the world. A little bigger than China's, but not by much. We have 5 years left at our current consumption rate. But if China takes us over, they get a whole chunk of that oil from the lower 48, which would give them some more years of life for their economy, according to this site. And what the numbers are stipulating here. I'm making that assertion. So if China has the Spratleys, which they do have, and they have militarized with force, and they conquer America and get our lower 48 oil, and then you add that to whatever they take from the Canadian lower provinces, and Russia gets the rest, you have that Canadian number probably being split into thirds, where Russia gets 2/3 and China gets 1/3 of that, so that would give China a lot of life. So yeah, that is a lot of context for understanding why China and Russia want to invade North America. I told you there's a lot of resources in the Arctic. I told you that. But there's also a lot of resources throughout North America, and the Chinese and Russians damn sure want them. So that's just something to think about.